Hey guys, Buff Daddy here, and look what just arrived. It's a new Blaze Storm Blaster from the Zecong toy factory over in China. Recently, evike.com has been carrying a lot of these. Usually go there for things like paintball and airsoft, but they also have Nerf and Blaze Storm Blasters. So, when I learned they had things like this, I had to jump at the opportunity and grab it. So, it just arrived an hour ago. Let's open this thing up. Let's see if I can find a sharp object. There we go. Okay. As we can see, it seems to already come partially assembled. And also, the flaps are built in to the box. That looks interesting. Okay. Let's grab the rest of the As you can see, they've gone for a Modulus type of deal with this. There are several models of this that have come out. Install batteries, 4 AA's required. Load the softballs. Turn on the power switch, take aim and fire. Press gunstock lock to disassemble gunstock. Slide the door open, remove jam foam ball, close door. Note, motor won't function and blaster won't fire if door is open. So, in other words, it's a flywheel blaster. Let's take a look at this. They have their own proprietary slot for adding stocks, so it's not going to be compatible for Nerf stocks. It's actually quite a bit wider. They went with rectangular instead of a squarish design. Okay, we have the removable handle. We have extra ball storage. We have the different stocks. If it'll fit on there. I imagine that wasn't intended to be swiveling all the way around. In any case, like people have noted before, it does in fact say super cool outer shape on the barrel. For whatever reason, the designers decided that was a good thing to list. We have the off-brand rival balls. Okay, so basically it works like you're firing a barricade, or stockade I should say in this day and age. Let's put the on switch back to off so I don't pull the trigger and shove the rival balls in while there's nothing running. It holds 8 rounds, and you can hold extra in the bits above here. We have the little knife attachment if you feel like, you know, stabbing someone, I suppose. Wouldn't be very effective, but hey, to each their own. Comes with a bipod. And we have the scope. So, I guess let's fully assemble this and look at it in all its glory. What a monstrosity. What have they created? Wow. Okay. Now, where did the batteries go? There's a single screw there. See if I can... Where is my smaller screwdriver? That appears to be... Yep, that is where it goes. Okay, now if you'll excuse me, I have to do a desperate search for fresh AA batteries. Well, I didn't have fresh batteries on hand, but considering we're just playing with alkalines, it should be sufficient for now, as long as they're not completely dead. In a minute, we'll throw in some rechargeables and see how that goes. Has a nice humming to it. Let's take a few shots with the entire super cool outer shape barrel in place. I imagine it'll shoot a lot better without it. As you can tell, there is a lag in firing. Okay. As you can see, there is a rather decent set of flywheels stuck in there. No hop-up mechanism that I can tell. Fire a few more shots. It's such a large scope. Shoots decently. It's about what I'd expect for a stock flywheel blaster like this. Actually, it's not what I expect. I have no clue what I was expecting. Because who the hell makes a Barricade type rival blaster? In any case, let's grab up the balls and play around with a few things before we do a final verdict. Okay, while various power solutions are charging, we will start with using two 14500 lithium ferrophosphate batteries. So nominally 3.2 volts, they charge up to 3.5. So roughly we're running at 7 volts fully charged, and somewhat better current than AA's. Not the best, but it's an easy solution for seeing what happens when we step things up. So now we can hear the motor wobble. It's noticeably harder. it also speeds anyway, as I was saying, you can actually speed up how many shots you take each time without losing too much speed in the flywheels. Let's take one of these out for a minute. And since I just noticed, you can actually see where the dart door slides in. There's a nice hole where you can see the whole pusher mechanism going through. But I feel that it works just like you would find on a Strife or a Barricade. It's just you have a giant turret meant for rifle balls instead of darts. And you can see that's actually a rather wide pusher being used to throw the balls in there. Okay, well, while we're waiting on another charging solution, I'm going to take this apart. Okay, guys, well, we're still waiting on the 14500 eFest lithium batteries to charge. So while we're doing that, we will disassemble this. Okay, we have our blaster. The ammo holders slide off. They are purely attachments, and they have a screw underneath. As you can see here, this is the jam door. Open it up. Voila, flywheels. Also makes you wonder what exactly is powering this. Actually, it shouldn't make you wonder based on the fact that we only have 4 AA batteries meant for this, but, you know, let's keep going. Pull the whole thing off. We have our internals. When you have the motor switch in the off position, it makes it so you can't pull the trigger back. On position makes that little piece recess back into itself, and you can pull the trigger, and it works like a Stockade or Barricade. As you can see, the slots for punching out the rival balls are fairly wide, as is the pusher. We have the flywheels, which are considerably smaller than your normal rival flywheels. This here is the safety switch for the jam door. As you can tell, it's pretty flimsy by any means. It's the same sort of switch you would find on a blaster like a Busby Tommy 20. There's one of the batteries. Anyway, the same sort of switch you'd find on there. It's a really, really low current switch. That'll have to be eliminated before we do any real overhaul to this. Let's take this out. I already have the screws out of the flywheel cage. And if you turn it around, you'll see that those are tiny motors. Those are, in fact, 130 sized motors. That, for those of you looking for how to do a 130 motor sized rifle blaster, this is apparently the example to follow. Let's grab a tape measure. Do I have one handy? There we go. Usually I don't have tools handy. That's amazing. Okay, so going off of this, the flywheels are roughly, give or take a little bit. See, it's half, 3/4 plus 1/16. 4, yeah, 16th. Make sure I'm thinking correctly. So it's about 1 13/16 diameter on the outside edge. Of course, they're concave wheels. If I had calipers on me, this would be a lot more useful. Of course, this is a Chinese factory, So, measurement, we should probably be doing this in centimeters, so roughly 4.5 centimeters diameter. And the space between them and the concave part is roughly a centimeter spacing. So yeah, if you wanted to use this to fire elite darts, you certainly could. Not much else to show you on this one, so I'll wait again until the other battery charges up, and then we'll see what we do with some EFEST batteries. And we're back. We have our two dummies, and we have two 700 milliamp hour EFEST IMRs. So let's turn this on, see how well it shoots. Not well if it's not turning on. Back again. Now that I've diagnosed the problem, the little safety switch inside that I pointed out earlier sits right about there. There was only a single screw holding it down, so the very process of taking the shell apart basically knocked it out of alignment, so that even when the jam door was closed, it would refuse to actuate and do anything. Now that's been fixed, and as you can all tell, that's a problem that clearly needs resolved. If you grab one of these, yeah, you basically need to get rid of that. Anyway, let's close her up, show her off with 2 EFEST. Okay. As you can tell, even with the crappy wiring and the crappy safety switch, so not allowing much current, it actually does a pretty decent job. Okay, let's run this through the chronograph, and we'll see how well it does. So, here we are with the homemade chronograph setup. I went ahead and ordered a chronograph off of eVike along with this so I could get free shipping, because they had a pre-sale on it, and it was pretty cheap at $60. But until it gets here, I will have to settle with, you know, my method. So, here we go. We'll be using 2 of the red EFEST IMRs, and we'll also be going ahead and using actual rival rounds this time around for the sake of good comparisons, because standardized ammo tends to be a good thing when you're trying to compare FPS. And now for the boring part of numbers. Okay, and now that we have the numbers done real quick, through the magic of movie editing, we have all of our waveforms here feeding in from the homemade chronograph. The procedure is simple, just marked area between peaks for the sample length. Sample length divided by samples per second gives you how many seconds it took to pass through here. Distance is 17/48 of an inch, roughly. So, add all of our numbers together, and the equation for my current homemade chronograph setup is 34,000 divided by the sample length is the speed in feet per second. So, just showing all of that off, using 2 red EFEST IMR batteries and 2 blanks, this blaster was getting 93 feet per second with standard rival rounds. Of course, nothing else was done to the blaster. It's still operating on the same stock motors, which, by the way, I don't know the shaft length on, because these are obviously a lot larger flywheels than you would find in, say, a Blaze Storm version of a Strife. But anyway, using the stock motors, the stock wiring, the crappy stock switches, everything else, so without much current, if this gets rewired and gets the motors replaced, I imagine you could get a heck of a lot more feet per second coming out of the barrel on this. So, that's Buff Daddy with this Blaze Storm. What number is this anyway? For future reference. This is the version with everything. So this is the Zecong Toys ZC7091 softball gun. And that's... I don't know what else to say. It's rather interesting. I'm looking forward to trying this out at some point. Well, that's it for now, so Buff Daddy signing off. Have a good one.